Hello and welcome back to this Christian Walk podcast, the show where no topic is too taboo to empower you on your walk with God. I'm your host, Marley B, and it is my privilege to welcome you back to the conversation. And for my Christians who love a great Christian movie, this conversation is for you. Now, you heard of The Shack, you heard of The War Room, you've heard of The Overcomer. All of these are great movies and movies that will inspire you and get you more in tune with who God is. And my guest today has written, directed, and produced a new Christian movie that's now available to you at your local Walmart and on Prime Video. And that movie is called The Mulligan. It's all about second chances, and he is here today to tell us all about what inspired him to make this movie so it can be a blessing to you. So let's get into it right now.
Walk with me, talk with me. What you know about God? Will He ride with me? Come and open my eyes for me. Hear my story. Show me more what's in store. And once more, listen, homie, can you walk?
Roland Eldridge, welcome to this Christian Walk podcast.
Hey, I'm so excited to be on it. This is actually my first guest appearance on a podcast.
Are you kidding me? I
No.
am definitely honored because
I'm honored.
This is a first for me because I have never had a real life movie producer on my show before. You are it. So I'm glad we are making history. And I believe I'm going to go ahead and prophesy that it will not be the last time we make history together. You down with that?
All right. I like that.
Okay, yeah. Me too. Well, I already kind of gave it away, right? Of how we met. I got the opportunity to be at a special screening of the movie that you created there, that beautiful background that we see there, The Mulligan, this past April. Yes, this past April. I love the movie. I absolutely loved it. I was so glad to be able to be a part of that historical moment for you. I can't even imagine all that you went through to even do it, because that was like your first movie, right?
Yeah, so I had done a lot of screenwriting and consulting, but I had never written a movie end to end. And I was part of the writing team, which I can share kind of the background on that if it's worth explaining. So there's 4 writers on the credits you'll see for this movie. My father, Rick Eldridge, was kind of the supervising writer. So he's been through this dozens of times. He's a movie maker, right? He's the producer. And so he brought this project to life end to end, and oversaw the writing process. His cousin, Jimmy Hager, was involved early in the structuring of the story as well. And then me and my brother are the other 2 writers in that, and we did a lot to take it end to end, and translate what was a very short and sweet parable type of a book, best-selling book by Ken Blanchard and Wally Armstrong, and it had a great structure for a story, but it didn't have nearly enough content to make a movie, and an hour and a half movie out of it. So that was kind of the fun part for us, was like coming up with all the new storylines and elaborating on things, because there was a great kind of heart right there, and we want to preserve that, but we added a lot, that kind of reinforced the themes and made it a visual experience for people. So it was pretty cool.
Wow. Well, I really like the fact that it was a family affair. Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
That, sometimes that can be like a nightmare for people working with family. But how was that experience with you guys on this?
No, it was great. I mean, family can bring out the best and the worst in you, that's for sure. But in this case, I think we definitely played to our strengths. And my brother and I have always been very close, and we balance each other out. Where he pushes, I pull, and that kind of thing. So that was a good experience. There were times where I needed him to prompt me and get me going on things. There were times where I had to kind of slow him down. Hey, let's think about this differently, and it worked out really well. We're working on other projects, so it didn't it didn't become one of those things where it's like, let's not do this again because
Right.
our relationship is more important. But there's definitely some turmoil too. But it turned out great.
Right. I'm sure it always has to be challenging, especially, I understand you said that you had experience doing the writing part, but this time actually bringing a story to life and then actually having to add to the story to help
Yeah.
bring it to life. I'm sure that process was, I mean, was challenging. So what was, I can't even imagine all the challenges you faced, but and I know you probably prepared for a certain amount of challenges, right? But what was the biggest challenge that you didn't expect?
Yeah, so two things. One, I have 3 kids and a wife and a full-time job that's not related to movies at all. So and other things, of course, you're just involved in. So that was challenge number one, was just making time for something that was important to us. And that, there were times where, we were working really late or, through the night, giving away weekends and stuff like that to make this thing happen. So there was sacrifice all around. My wife was a part of making this movie and putting up with it, right? And supporting. So in that way. So that's number one. Number two, really getting more specific into the movie. There was one of the biggest challenges was, as I alluded to, preserving the heart of the story in the book, because we did elaborate a lot and wove in some new things, but you can't lose sight of what made the book great, a best-selling book, right? I mean, if you lose that, then you've gone off script. So and the writers, Kim Blanchard and Wally Armstrong, were great in letting us take some liberties, but it was important to them, and rightfully so, that we preserve the central heart of the story, which is essentially a gospel of redemption. Is the story that comes, at the climax of the movie, where you kind of see, I'm not going to give anything away, but you see redemption, you see the gospel played out in the characters' lives, and you see the gospel articulated, not just implied, but very clearly articulated. And that, getting the wording right on that, took as much time as anything else that we wrote, because the gospel is very personal, and people understand it in sometimes different and nuanced ways, and you want to be able to communicate it in a way that's authentic and real. So that was one of the big challenges in the writing process. Sometimes getting the story together was quick. Getting those few words, those lines of dialogue that you really need to get right in those precious moments that can kind of make or break the way people feel, or what they take away from the movie. So
Yeah, well, you guys definitely did a great job at preserving the heart of it, because it was definitely one of those grab your pearls moments, especially at the end. But once again, we're not going to give it away. You just have to see it. I have to say, when I first heard the name of the movie, I was like, okay, what is that? I have no knowledge of golf, but I feel like I learned a lot about it.
yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, what is the Mulligan? Because I knew I got invited from my sister friend, Rose, who is, her likeness was in the movie, which is pretty cool. This beautiful young lady in the black dress here was pretty much a likeness of Rose, from what I understand.
That's right.
And
That's right.
what's her name?
Worked
Grace?
with Rose Lane. She's like one of my favorite people. And as we were writing the script, there was a character there that we needed someone. Paul, the central character, has alienated himself from many of the most important people in his life. But we were thinking, you can't really have a character that's totally alone, because then you don't really get to know them. And so we try to think of how do we create a bond with someone that hasn't given up on him, that's still working for his benefit. And God puts those people in our lives, doesn't he? Right?
Absolutely.
So we put that character, and in all my time working with Rose, she's one of those people that just, she speaks into people, right? And she's that person that holds it together and is on ministry all the time.
All
right?
the time.
So that was a fun character to write because I had an anchor for that one, and she's very proud, to tell everybody that she, made the movie in that way. So,
I know.
So thank you, Rose.
Yes, definitely big shout out to Rose. And she definitely deserves to have her heart immortalized on screen. So thank you for doing that, because you did a great job at doing that.
Yeah.
The heart of the movie, like I said, was clear. The message definitely one that we can all relate to. I mean, luckily we serve a God that is a God of second chances. And this is a chance, this was a man who was able to get that through God's grace. But I'm wondering, like, I know out of all the stories that you could have really created into a movie, this one really hit home. Was it something particular about the second chance that you related to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And definitely, there's I feel like there is a redemption for all of us. If you, and that's one of the things that I think makes this movie connect with people so well, is like, even if you don't, care about golf, or, you haven't walked these specific circumstances, you'll see yourself in it, right? Especially for those that have been redeemed or restored and understand that story. And I think for anyone that desires that, right? And the movie, I think, invites you into that, and right. So, and that's a powerful thing. So for me personally, to answer your question, I've been saved by grace, and it wasn't easy to understand that as a kid growing up. That I felt like I was a good Christian kid most of my life, right? So. For people who have a more radical testimony, there's that, kind of more, big conversion moment that they change, their desires all change all at once. And for me, I always kind of felt like I was the good kid, and in that way, kind of earning favor of my parents, my teachers, and, my friends. I was like liked in every direction, right? I just want to be liked. And you kind of apply that framework to an eternal God, right? And say, all right, well, as long as I'm keeping up my image, I'm going to be liked. I'm going to be approved of and accepted, and that becomes your identity. So for me, there's a lot of lines in this movie that refer to, people that are trying to earn it. And the main character is a performer. He's an achiever. He's a CEO, high-powered guy. He has a definition of success from the world standpoint, right? And yet there's this emptiness in this sense that, like, am I living it right? Have I gotten everything that I needed out of this? Have I earned enough for a God to accept me? And the short answer is no. No one can earn God's love. He loves in spite of what we do, right? He loves because he created us and for who we are, regardless of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So for me, like, kind of drawing forward those themes of grace instead of performance is probably the more personal aspect, because I was definitely in a performance mindset for a time growing up, and God was fortunately able to tear down that wall and help me not to carry that self-righteous mentality. So.
Oh, wow. That is really a beautiful testimony, Roland, because that's something, I think that's one of those secret shames of the church, that kind of expectation was somehow perpetuated in all denominations, that faith was something that was performance based, and that we can earn our way into God's good graces, and we can even earn our way into heaven. And when we found out and was able to let go of of that illusion, because that's just not true, and able to really grab a hold to the fact that we serve a God that loves us in spite of us. That is something that just made him bigger to us and made the church be what he intended it to be, which is a place where
Mm-hmm.
people who don't realize that all this love is just right there waiting for them as soon as they ask for it. That's what the
Yeah.
church is supposed to be. And I think that this movie, it did a great job of mirroring that to everyone. I also like the fact that it was a look into the 1%, demographic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the perception is that when you have money and when you have power and when you have education and all opportunities that can be afforded to you, then life is always good, you know?
Yeah.
and I and I just thought that this was a great example of you can look, the grass is not always greener. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a relationship with your family, a relationship with God, there is an emptiness there that things just cannot fill.
Yeah.
And I thought the
Right. And
movie was great at that.
Ecclesiastes, right? It says, right, I've seen it all, I've had it all, I've experienced it all. And what is it? At the end of the day, it's all vanity, right? It's meaningless. Everything is meaningless at the end of the day, right? From the greatest of successes to the lowest of lows. We have a short time on this life, on this earth, right? It comes and it goes, right? So you zoom out and kind of look at things from that angle, and it's really true. You have to kind of consider what is meaningful, right? Why are we here, right? And how do we ascribe value to things? Because it's all going to come and it's going to go, right? So, from an eternal perspective, um, this life only matters if it's not my own, if it's not about me. That's when it matters, right?
Yes. Nothing better than to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And then it's a real graduation moment in your walk with God, when you realize that it's not just about everything you do in relationship with God is not just so you can get blessed. It's because God is trying to bless somebody else through you. He's trying to do something through you. It's not just about you. That is that kind of selfless, unconditional love is just something that everybody should understand, that that's what God wants for us. And to be able to lavish in that type of love, knowing that it's bigger than me and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And then so when you put out something like this, because we all know you reap what you sow, right? And when you put something out like this that can bless so many people, because this is a ministry for you. Am I right? Do you consider
Yeah.
this a ministry?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll share too. Like, I've always struggled with evangelism to the extent that I want to evangelize, right? I mean, that I feel like we should evangelize, right? I mean, if what we say is true, if we really believe what we say, right, about God and about the salvation through Jesus and the hope that brings to people, we should be sharing at every opportunity, right? Now, people are wired differently and have different personalities and different approaches to doing that. So, with this movie, for me, my passion has always been about creating things, writing things, and using that to point to truth. So, in a relational sense, I oftentimes build relationships and I have a hard time being really explicit in sharing the gospel, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's fear or if it's tact or whatever, but I oftentimes don't hit people with the hard true gospel, and that's something I wrestle with. I'm trying to do that more honestly, and just like figure out how to help people see it for what it is, and feel that it's coming from a place of love, right? And that takes a lot. So, you know, to be able to put out a movie like this, or I also do songwriting. In fact, there's a song in the movie that I wrote and recorded, and I'm singing that song in the movie. So it's called, that song is called Start Again. You should play it at the credits when you
No, right. I'm gonna have to look that up. We gotta feature that right there.
Yeah, or link people to it. It's just my name, Roland Eldridge. It's on Spotify and everywhere else. But anyway, that song also has a gospel message. It's more of a love song, and it shows up in the movie at a point where Paul is reflecting. You may remember the scene where he's flipping through pictures and kind of remembering, you know, this, and the song is, it'd be nice if we could start again. Wouldn't it be nice, right? And, you know, to have a fresh start, just a clean slate, and all the mess and all the baggage and all the stuff that we carry just could go away. What if that could happen, right? It seems impossible. That could never happen. But what if it did, right? Like, would our relationship be different? Would we be able to, you know, have it, like, really love each other if we didn't have all this mess? And that's what that's the gospel too, right? And you know, you take that into the spiritual context. That's what it is. We get a clean start, a fresh start every morning. By the way, new mercies every day. So anyhow, creating a work like that is evangelical, right? In the sense that it's inviting people into the story and the truth of the gospel. For me, is like, it's really encouraging that, you know, that I can do ministry in that way and share that piece of me with not just my friends and community, but people all over the world that I'll never meet, is a different kind of impact that I've always wanted to have, and, you know, in sharing the gospel. And so I'm really excited about that, to be able to put the movie out and know that, you know, the word is going forward, right? In that way that sometimes on a personal level, I feel like I'm not always bold enough to do that. But this is a tool, right? It's a tool for doing that exact thing. So it's pretty cool.
I appreciate you so much for really, you know, owning up to that, because I have to say, at my church, my pastor has been really kind of bringing that point home. I'm actually right now listening on Audible, Rick Richardson's book, You Found Me, talking about how, you know, it's so many people that we have, like, we want to avoid the social awkwardness of discussing our faith. And we're missing opportunities to essentially be what God called us to be, which is his hands and feet. And, you know, we're quick to tell people, hey, we know of a good restaurant. We know where they can get a good outfit. We know where they can, anything that, you know, we know they can get 5 cents on dishwashing liquid. You know, we can tell them all of those things. But when it comes about telling them something that not only could be their salvation in the next life, but can be so enriching for them in this life, and we miss those opportunities just because we want to avoid the awkwardness of, you know, being labeled the holy roller or the Bible thumper or just somebody, oh Lord, here come the Jesus freak, or whatever the situation is. And it's just like, you know, but it's so many people that need what we know. When you turn on the TV or step outside the door and see all of the despair in the world, how do you feel about, you know, the fact that the dwindling attendance numbers and people just going more into the territory of nuns and, you know, turning away from faith because of, you know, just losing hope in the ideal of it? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I see that, and I've seen people walk away from faith too, right? And that's a hard thing. And I think it is in part because you know, the church is hesitant to step into those uncomfortable places. That's a big piece of it. It is, you know, and so, you know, I would encourage people to use the movie as an opportunity to do that. You know, the movie is quite accessible, right? I mean, I think anyone that watches it would get something out of it, even if they don't buy the faith message. They'll still enjoy the movie, and that's pretty cool. But the message is there, right? So anyone that wants to reach someone in their lives could give this movie to them, or encourage them to watch it on Amazon Prime, which is available today, by the way. Today is the release day.
Yes.
I should have said
Amazon Prime Day.
Yes, today, and it's in Walmart on DVD. So you can go buy 10 DVDs and make it your goal, right? I'm going to give this to the 10 people that need it, that need to see this, and they'll enjoy it. And I have a question for you, Marlon.
Sure.
Did you cry during the movie?
I definitely cried. Yes, I did. I definitely cried because I am a crybaby, right? And I am a sucker for second chances. Like, I'm the one. I will go there. And even though, I'm also just to kind of tell myself a little bit, the type of person that is always trying to anticipate what's going to happen. And it's like, oh, okay, I think I know what's going on here. And when I think I know what's going on here and it twists on me and then I cry, oh, that's always and it was one of those situations. It was like, okay, this was good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I definitely did. I enjoyed it. If I can cry in the theater, that was worth the ticket.
And that's the thing, there's a very human and irrefutable aspect of story, right? Because I can come try to present information to you, right? You've probably, and many people already have their arguments or their reasons for not believing that information, right? Jesus taught in parables for that reason. The book was titled, and I think it says it here, A Parable of Second Chances, right? And that's what it is. It's a story that is hard to argue with. A story, right? This is something that happens. It happens every day, right? And people walk through situations like this. So when you watch it, you start to believe it. Your emotions start to kind of connect to these characters, and regardless of the so-called information of the faith, there are acts of faith that you see played out, and you can't refute it. You can't. So that's a pretty cool thing, and a very different way of presenting the gospel than sharing the information that you would want to compel someone, because it's very real, it's very human, and I think it connects to a different in the brain and the soul in a unique way.
Absolutely. And I think what the church needs to embrace are new ways to, everything evolves. And I think that there's nothing wrong with the church doing that as well. And finding new ways to deliver the message, other ways to extend the message, other ways to extend the invitation to get to know Jesus. And that is worth, trying. I have to admit that even in doing this show, this is an unorthodox way to advocate for a relationship with God, and I feel that God has called me to it. And while sometimes I have struggles with unworthiness or wondering why me, at the end of the day, I feel that I see the need for it. And I've given God my yes, that I'm going to continue to do it. I've seen what it's done for my life and for other people's life, giving them a chance at, having these conversations in a place that's not judgmental and in a place that's not extra just preaching at you, you know what I mean? Without just being able to discuss issues or the topic of faith, and to do it without condemnation or judgment. And I feel like that is what the Mulligan did also, because to me, it advocates for a relationship with God, or just for it will just spark, if anything else, your thinking about going that path. You know what I mean? And if we can do that, if we can plant those kind of seeds for God to water, then I think that we are doing things that's going to get us well on the path to hearing well done. And I think that what you did was great. And you said that you said you had other projects going on too?
We do, yeah. We're writing, a few other things in the works. You know, we're working on a Christmas story. I actually acted in a movie that will be coming out next year.
Oh, wow.
So it's a tennis movie. I was a college tennis player, and it's also a faith-based film that I actually play the villain a little bit in this one.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It was
Did
really
you like
fun to
playing
shoot.
the villain?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah.
You hear that
yeah,
from actors who say that playing the bad guy is fun. And I was just wondering.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, yeah.
Well, that's cool. Will you talk me a little bit
different.
about golf? Now you're gonna try to teach me a little bit about tennis next. So
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. I wanna hit on something you said, because the theme that when I think about the church at large, and some of the things that you described, and the dynamics that we see in people leaving the church or not engaging with the church, and even our ability to share truth, to me it all kind of comes down to one thing, and it's love. Right? And this is really what I think I need to work on first and foremost, and I think all believers are called to grow in love first, and love should motivate the action. And Scripture says that they will know us by the way we love each other, and that would compel people to faith. Right? It's like, how could you love like that? So in the story, this guy right here, he plays Pat Boone plays the old pro. And yeah, and by the way, he's up for best supporting actor at the Canadian Faith and Family Film Festival.
Oh, wow!
And we got nominated in several categories. I just heard today.
That is congratulations, Roland.
Yeah, so very excited. And I think Pat Boone will get it, because his performance is
good.
Just
Old
phenomenal.
Pro was my favorite. He was good.
But I'll tell you what about his character, and this is even something I haven't really thought about until we're just talking about it. There are certain people that I know, and there's not a lot of them. There's a few people that I know that really exhibit love and brotherly love and really God's love, that I know that he's like, this person loves people well, right? And this person will go out of their way for anyone. And where you stand with this person, because they're going to love you unconditionally. And that's what the old pro does, right? For the main character, Paul. He comes into his life and shows him a different kind of love than he's ever experienced before. And that's what compels him, I think, in the end, is, this is different. This is something real. This is something true and very different than what I've ever really experienced. Paul, as you see in the movie, he didn't have that from his father. Right. And so anyway, I just, kind of connecting several topics we talked about, right? That's the capital letter word, right? Is love. And that, so anyway.
God is love. And the best way to show God is to show love. That's the best way.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just feel like, the church is starting to get the message of, stop condemning and just start loving. Start loving. Because condemning is not the way. It is not the way.
Yeah.
But I think what you have there is a beautiful thing. I'm so glad to hear that you've been getting all the accolades that you've been getting. But I know I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. Now that I know I've been waiting for the streaming to come in. It's on Prime. I'll get it booted up right away. I'm definitely gonna be listening. Around. What's the name of the song again, Roland?
Oh, Start Again.
Start again. Okay. So I'm gonna make sure. Yeah, I'm gonna be listening for that one for this time around. And then let me find out you got pipes on you. How long you been singing?
Oh man, all my whole life.
Really?
My whole life. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna be listening for the pipes. When I when I listen to it, I'm gonna text you. I'm be like, okay, Roland, I hear the pipes.
Yeah. Are you a singer? I'll get you singing with me.
I mean,
I think you're a singer.
karaoke, I'm down for that. I can do karaoke with the best
Okay.
of them. But you talking about real life singing? I don't know, Roland. Maybe I can do like
I think you sing pretty loud in church.
I used to get kind of loud. Choir way back in the day.
I'm a worship leader, and that's one of my favorite things. Like there's always a few people that's like I can hear them every time. I think I suspect that you're one of those people. From the front they're like, I hear Marley over there.
Okay, well, if you convince me, I'll get on it, but it won't take much convincing. Let me get. I might need some words in front of me just to help it along the way, but you probably could get me on the mic a little bit. I don't know how well I'm gonna do, but I'll try my best. But I will hold you for that. And look, I'm trying to get on one of these movies too. Let me be a background person or something. I would love to come on the set one time.
Definitely, it's fun. I tell you what, it's not as glamorous as it looks.
I'm
the
sure it's a lot of work.
All shiny and it's beautiful, cut together, and it is just, you get on a film set, you look around, and you stand in there for hours. The film crew, is not as put together as the acting, kind of polished crew. So a lot of people walk on a film set and they're like, oh, this is different, I expect it. But it's fun.
Well, that's cool. Well, I don't know. I just want to go into say I experienced it so I can at least say I went on one. So I would definitely do that.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be great. So, Roland, this has been a great talk. I'm gonna have to have you back on here when the other movie comes out, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, we definitely gonna do that. And so maybe I'm sure you'll have some more interviews by then, probably do a couple more podcasts, but I'll always be the first. So that is special to me. I appreciate that. I'm honored. I am so honored. So if you could say my last question, if you had, what's your biggest dream for the Mulligan?
I really hope that the Mulligan, it's interesting because every impression is meaningful. Every one impression is meaningful for someone to watch it and connect with it. And that's what I again, from a songwriting perspective, I always think about, why do I write songs? Why would I bother going through all the process of recording it? It takes time, it can be expensive. And at the end of the day, it's like, it might connect to someone, and wouldn't that be cool? So if I were to dream big about the Mulligan, heck, I would love to see it, kind of catch fire on the digital and the DVDs market, and to the extent that it comes back in the theaters right after its initial debut, because it's got enough support to have another run in the theaters. That happens, but so I think this is something that people will see it and they'll share it. It's just one of those things, again, from a sharing of faith, as stories that just connect with people. I've seen it several times and I'm not tired of it. So, I mean, I think it's just one of those movies. So, my hope, dreaming big, is that it just becomes, one of the 5 Christian movies you would name offhand if I were to ask you what Christian movies you like. The Mulligan. That's my hope, is that it becomes everybody's favorite Christian movie.
I like it.
And but at the end of the day, it's already done it. A very meaningful work in hearing people's stories. So many people have already reached out and said that movie really impacted me. And the in really specific ways. So I'm really thankful. It's a privilege for me. I feel very honored to have been a part of it, and I just continue to pray that God uses it for good.
Well said. Well, I couldn't have said it better. I definitely wish you much success with it, and much success in all your future endeavors. You got to show me the DVD. I know you got it over there.
Yes. Okay, this is the DVD. Hot off the press. It's a little warm on my hands because it's so fresh.
Fresh off the
So there it is.
presses at a
Yeah, and
Walmart
if
near
you look,
you.
if you look really close, in the fine print, you'll see my name is down there. So, but yeah, it's a really pretty looking DVD. So yeah, you can pick it up at Walmart. Has an exclusive on it. They wanted to be the first to make it available. So go get it at Walmart, and then it'll be available in more stores and more streaming platforms in the coming months. But Walmart and Amazon Prime are the main places you're going to get it today.
Today, August 16th. By the time we run this, it'll be out. But you can go today to see the Mulligan. Get your copies, share your copies. This is a way for us to share our faith in a way that is going to be comfortable for any circle that you bring it in, and any demographic will get something out of this movie because it is powerful, it is heartwarming, and it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny too.
It's funny.
Yeah. It's got even some it's got a romance story. It's got a father-son. So all generations are represented. It's a global, multi-ethnic, multicultural story. So I mean, it's broad and it's deep. So yeah, like you said, I think everybody. It's an everybody movie.
It's an everybody movie. Everybody, any occasion movie. Definitely the Mulligan. August 16th, 2022, streaming right now.
There you go. All right.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you. Oh, but you got to drop the website. What was the website?
Okay, the website is the Mulligan Movie.com. The Mulligan Movie.com. So that you'll get trailers and media if you want to share it on social media. Everything is on the Mulligan Movie.com. Yeah, there you go. And I want to say thank you, Marley, because this is a really cool platform. I love what you're doing with it. And shout out to all your listeners, your faithful listeners, and the ones that are just dropping in. All of them. So yeah.
Thank you, Roland. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much to my guest, Roland Eldridge, for coming on to the show and joining the conversation and telling us all about the Mulligan movie. I'm so proud of the accomplishments that you have made, sir, and I look forward to hearing how your movie has been a blessing to so many. And for you out there, if this conversation spoke to you, please like it, please share it. Don't forget to comment, and definitely please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember, you can also listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as iHeartRadio. Well, the Mulligan movie right now, just want to remind you guys, is once again available at your local Walmart as well as on Prime Video, streaming right now. So please go out, let's support this movie, and let's share it. Share it with your friends because it has a great heartwarming story about faith, about family, and more importantly, about second chances. And we know God is all about second chances. And on this walk with God, I know one thing for sure. Loving God can be easy. Trusting God can be hard. But I believe we can all get there one step at a time on this Christian walk. I'll see you next time.
Listen, homie, can you walk with me? Talk with me. What you know about God? Will he ride with me? Come and open my eyes for me. Hear my story. Show me more what's in store. And once more, listen, homie, can you walk? Can you walk? Let's walk.